Hi there, welcome to I Love Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Leo energy, and we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because people have free will. Some people harness high vibe Leo energy, and if you harness high vibe Leo energy, you'd like to work and deal with other people who harness high vibe Leo energy. People who are open and warm and authentic and loving, are bold and brave and confident. But sometimes we end up working with people, even if they're not a Leo sun sign, they harness their Leo energy in a more worldly focus or a more shadowy focus. Shadowy can be people who are manipulative and prideful and egotistical and try to manipulate people into getting what they want. And worldly focus is just people who are more motivated and inspired by the world, still caught up in the illusion of the world, could be more driven and motivated and inspired by the world, money, materialism, indulgence, immaturity, self centeredness. It's what they think will make them happy. And some of you have learned some life lessons that some other people haven't learned. And you find yourself in relationships with people who harness a different Leo energy than you. The overarching reason for the reading is the King of Cups. Do we take action in the world presenting ourselves as loving, but really being more motivated by ego? Do we want to get in relationships because it's good for our ego, our image, our status? People are willing to indulge us being emotionally defensive or egoic or more image focused than loving focused. High vibe people are taking action and love to have new beginnings because of love with people who harness high vibe Leo energy. I want to be in relationships with people who are authentic, people who aren't hiding behind their egoic nature, who aren't wearing a false mask, not people who present themselves as loving family people in order to get in a relationship, but that's not really what drives and motivates them. It's just good for their ego and their image. So let's see what we start out with here. We have the Eight of Swords, the Nine of Swords, the Page of Pentacles, and the Queen of Cups. The truth is what sets us free, and in the energy of love and truth and justice and fairness, we're able to move forward in life and face our fears and insecurities to keep growing and maturing ourselves. But there's some people who, in the Queen of Cups, it's Scorpio energy. High vibe people probably harness high vibe Scorpio energy too. They want to be in deep, meaningful relationships. They're willing to explore the highs and lows of life. And other people harness a more worldly Scorpio energy or shadowy Scorpio energy. And they like doing things the way that they've done it. And they could be emotionally shallow and superficial and like to keep their emotions buried beneath the surface and just repeat these old patterns of ways of relationship because they're in a mental prison about being authentic and loving. And so they want to be in relationships, but they offer very little. And what they do offer is maybe more of the things of the world. Like, are you tempted by the things of the world that I can offer you? Because I have a lot of fear and insecurity about offering people love because that makes me feel vulnerable and I could get hurt doing that. So I'd rather just invest in other people who are more aligned with their more worldly nature. Can I tempt you with those things? If I offer you those things, will you love me? Will you be in a relationship with me and repeat this old pattern and way of being? Because I have a lot of stress and anxiety about growing and maturing myself and willing to get out of my ego to learn some lessons in life so that I could move forward in life differently. So some of those people right now are really stressed because the people that they wanted to maybe be in a relationship have moved on. It's like, I can love you and not want to stay in a relationship with you. You have a lot of fears and insecurities about love. You have a lot of stress and anxiety about a lot of things. Why are you so fearful about stepping out of your comfort zone? Why are you so fearful of getting in a relationship where you let your intuition and love guide your steps? Some people don't like that because it's like unpredictable. No, we have to do life the way I grew up living life and the way like my parents did and the way I've always done it, because to step outside my comfort zone and just kind of go with the flow, for some people, that's really frightening. And any of you who've been in relationships with people who are like that, even though you love them, they had you up in your head because that's kind of what they do. They do all these things to try to manipulate you and put you up in your head and put you up in your fear and insecurity about growing and maturing yourself and doing things differently so that you'll keep focused on them. So they purposely do things to get you up in your head, to doubt yourself, to not know your worth and value, to not love and believe in yourself, to make you fearful of change. And some of these people in our life can be like a friend group or a friend or someone in our family. The Queen of Cups just means someone that we could have mutual love for, but they really don't want us to do our life any differently. I want you to stay here, and sadly, I don't care if you have a lot of fear and insecurity. I might even play on your fear and insecurity of going and getting a new job, going to college, moving into your own apartment, if you're young. I want you to stay here. And I don't really care if I instill fear and insecurity. I have so much fear and insecurity about you moving forward, living your authentic life, or being with other people who don't try to manipulate and control you, and you'll see the truth of who I am. People who are in shadowy energy are really out for their own interest. It makes them feel powerful. It makes them feel like you love them more than you love yourself, And it's really out of their own. They don't want to move forward in life differently, so they don't want other people to move forward in life differently. That would bother me. Look, they stepped out of their comfort zone. Look, they're go living their authentic life. Why don't I go live my authentic life? Why do I have so much fear about doing things differently? I'd have to grow and mature myself. I'd have to put some work and effort into working through my own fears and insecurities. Each suit of the deck has a maximum of 10 in it. So in this one, we're getting to the 8 and the 9. If people were to put in work and effort, which is what the Pentacle can talk about, if I were to love myself enough to figure out, why am I so fearful of love? Why am I so afraid of being hurt? Why am I so afraid of being authentically myself in the world? Why am I so afraid of trusting other people? Why am I so afraid of listening to my intuition? Why? Probably they've done it before and it didn't work out the way they thought, and they kind of gave up on their dreams. So now it's like ignoring their intuition. A part of them could want to step outside their comfort zone and grow and mature themselves and make offers to people, but their fear and their insecurity, and then it keeps them emotionally in their comfort zone to just keep doing things they want. So they just stay back here offering these things of the world to people, which can be their sexuality, it can be their charm, their charisma, money. Will somebody come back here and do a pattern of relationship with me? I don't want to change. I don't want to do life any differently. And people who are in relationships with, it's like not wanting to detach from some things in their life that they really should detach from. When we grow and mature ourselves, we let go of some of our more immature ways of being, self-centered ways of being controlling, being egotistical, being immature, being lazy, getting out of our fear and insecurity. And some people are unwilling to do that. They're unwilling to complete a cycle. And if they were willing to do that work, to work through, where did all these fears and insecurities come from? Who put those all in my head? Loving people in the world could be offering to be in a relationship with me, but I'm so afraid. I'm invested in other people in my life that I love, that I don't want to detach from, or I have things in my life that I love that make me feel safe and secure, which can even just be hiding in my ego and my defensive nature, or my more immature nature, or wanting to be indulged nature, that I would have to give those things up. And I'd have to become more independent of the people in my life I have been aligning with, who I could love, that I stay attached to for my own sense of stability and security in the world. And I'd have to be willing to go out on my own and be more independent and be a student of life and be willing to face my fears and insecurities. And some people are unwilling to detach from those things, ways of viewing life, ways of being within themselves, or people in their life. And so they don't move forward in life, and they keep trying to find someone who will keep repeating this way of being. Like, I want someone who is willing to be, our shadow nature is represented by the devil. I want someone who's imprisoned and enslaved and restricted and confined and oppressed and imprisoned by the same things I am. And if you're not imprisoned and enslaved by the same fears or insecurities or worldly view of life or egotistical way of life or immature, lazy way of life, whatever their issue is, I have these other people in my life that I love, and I'm not willing to detach from them, to become more independent of them, to live my own authentic life. So you need to let those people interfere in our life, because I let them interfere in my life. I let them have too much power and precedence in my life, and I don't go live my own authentic life. I'm codependent on them. I need them in my life. And some people are like, yeah, that's why some of you left some people in your life, because they either have fear of growing up, they emotionally indulge their more worldly, immature nature, live more from their mind and their heart, have a lot of fear about love and being vulnerable and authentic, and they want to repeat these patterns, and they never detach from any of them. And so some of you are already in relationships with people like that, and you decided, I can love you, and I can love and encourage you to try to love and believe in yourself, to be bold and brave, to move forward in your life. But they have the free will choice to do that or not. And if they're not, eventually people detach from those people because they want their divine inheritance of the justice card. I want to be in relationships with people who believe in their dreams. Scorpio energy again of the Seven of Cups. I want to be in relationships with people who offer love to themselves, to be balanced within themselves, to not be tipped out of balance where they let other people play on their fear and their insecurity and their codependency or their immaturity or their lust or their greed. I want people who've done the work to love themselves so they're balanced. Libra is represented by the scales of justice. I want people who've done the work to offset their fearful, insecure, prideful, egotistical, emotionally defensive, immature nature, to believe in themselves and believe in their dreams, that they're willing, again in Scorpio energy of the Six of Cups, to work together with people in a deep, meaningful relationship. But the other people are like, well, no, can't we just move forward in a relationship and just create the illusion of it being that? I want to look like I've, attain these things in life. I want to make it look like I'm just and fair and loving. Look, I'm working together with someone in a relationship, but it's just an illusion. I want to be in a relationship with you, but I'm never going to detach from these things and ways of being. I have these illusions about what it means to be in a relationship. And I want you, the Six of Cups can mean I want you to repeat this pattern. Why would someone want to keep repeating a same pattern of way of living life? Because there's some truth that has made them, that probably maybe originated in their past, could originated in their family. They could have grown up with people who are like this, people who live more from their mind than their heart, who create this illusion that they've moved on from things, that it's this loving, happy family, but it's kind of the illusion of being a loving, happy family. They aren't having deep, meaningful relationships. They don't love and encourage people to stand up for themselves, to listen to their intuition, to gain insight and wisdom about their own fears and insecurities so that they can move forward confidently in the world, being the official person in their own life, being open and authentic and warm and loving. It's like, no, they're defensive to going within. They don't want to maybe see the truth that they present themselves as loving family people, but it's kind of more operating from ego. I want to look like I have a loving, happy family, but I'm defensive to gaining insight and wisdom that I might operate more from my egoic nature. I might harness shadowy Leo energy where I'm more emotionally manipulative to get at what I want. But I present myself as loving to the people in my life, and I present myself as a loving family person to the world. Isn't that good enough? Aren't you willing to defend being in a relationship with me because I put on this great show that everything's great? Everything's wonderful. Look, I present myself as a loving, happy family person to you. I present myself as a loving, happy family person to the world. But it's kind of more just an illusion. It's not authentically being yourself in the world. It's not, it's hiding behind your ego. I could get hurt doing that. I just want to wear this false mask and present this illusion of what a wonderful relationship we have, what a wonderful family we have. But it's superficial and shallow. That is shadowy Scorpio energy. I just want to repeat this pattern because I don't want to see the truth that I could have grown up in families that were defensive to being authentically high vibe Cancer, high vibe Leo. I don't really want to freely give of myself from love because that means I'm investing in other people. And if I really emotionally invest in other people, if it doesn't work out, I could get hurt. And maybe they don't have haven't invested in themselves enough in love to believe that they could withstand storms. That, you know what, if I get in a relationship and I move forward in a relationship and then I start to feel emotionally confused in a relationship and I think the other person is repeating a pattern that I don't want to engage in, I'm going to stand up for myself. I'm going to gain insight and wisdom from this life experience that now I've learned that some people, everybody can have their own patterns and ways of being in a relationship. And are we willing to see the truth of it, offer love and encouragement to the people that were in a relationship to help them get out of their pattern? And if we find out that they're too afraid to get out of their pattern, like, no, we have to do it this way. This is the way we have to do it. I refuse to do things differently. I refuse to acknowledge that maybe I have some lessons to learn, that I might be tipped out of balance, and I want the scales tipped in my favor. I want you to indulge me. Maybe that's what some people are afraid of. Maybe they're afraid I'm going to be kind of emotionally defensive and operate from my more egoic nature because I'm afraid if I don't do it, someone else will do it. And what if I really invested in them and I love them and then they're kind of being pride? I think some people grew up in families with people who are very controlling. And it was all to create this illusion and discourage anyone else from listening to their intuition and believing in themselves to move forward differently. Like, the most important thing was to create this illusion. And everybody buying into the illusion, even though they were probably really emotionally confused about love in that relationship. Because I can love you and I'm in a relationship with you, but I feel like I don't really have a deep connection with you. Like, we're not authentically honest with each other. It's because the most important thing is to create this illusion of how wonderful we all get along. So again, it's a superficial, shallow relationship. And they could be defensive to gaining insight and wisdom that that's the kind of people they grew up with. And they keep defending that way of living life because they don't want to see the truth. And others of you got in relationships with people who are like that. And eventually it's like, well, apparently they're more defensive of maintaining this illusion about themselves and about their past and about the people they align themselves with than being authentic and vulnerable and warm and loving in the world. And I want those things. So you went within to gain insight and wisdom about it, because like, I can't keep doing this. If you're not going to be authentic, where I can have an authentic relationship with you, have a deep, meaningful relationship with you, where you have detached from this false way of living your life, or this egoic way of living your life, or shallow, or emotionally immature, or codependent way of living life, I need to be free. That's what high vibe energy is about. I deserve to live my authentic life, not letting other people try to manipulate and control me. And if you let those people still manipulate and control you, then I hope you enjoy your life, but I'm moving on to have a new beginning. Because I see that you're defensive to illuminating the truth and being more independent. And everybody's got free will. If you think that is makes you feel safe and secure, you think that's a just and fair way to live, that's what you love, that's what makes you happy, then peace out. Wish you peace, but I'm moving on. And as you're moving forward, and some of you have already done that and you've already moved away from some of those types of people, other people are in the midst of it. Some of them are just getting into it. And they're going to learn some valuable lessons. Am I willing to live a life of illusion, or am I going to be bold and brave enough to get out of my ego, to love myself, reconcile myself with my past that could have made me comfortable in this type of situation too, because of how I could have grown up? Because we tend to get in relationships with people where we may have similar wounding, we have similar backgrounds. And if both people aren't willing to do the work within themselves to reconcile themselves with the past and their past pain and heartbreak and their self-limiting beliefs and their fears and insecurities of living life more vulnerably and authentically, a relationship will end. Some people had relationships with people like that in the past. You're about to get in a relationship with someone who's learned those same lessons as you. Someone who harnesses high vibe Leo, Cancer, Virgo energy. They've learned to illuminate and love their more shadowy Leo nature of ego and defensiveness or self-centeredness or immaturity and all that other stuff, to be ready to have a new beginning. They've reconciled themselves with the past. They've seen through the illusion and the emotional confusion that had them caught up in repeating patterns of the past. Just like when you got in relationships with people that were like this. And why are we drawn and attracted to people like that? Because we all have these patterns of ways of being that we feel comfortable in, even if they're unhealthy. It's our comfort zone. I'm used to being in relationships with people who are bossy and controlling. They could have even reminded me of people, of my mother, or people who I love. But if we want to give birth to something new, emotionally, we have to be bold and brave enough to believe in our dreams. And that means we need to step out of repeating those patterns of ways of being that we could have, and be willing to take some bold, brave, confident action to go within to gain insight and wisdom. Why would I be defensive of being in a relationship with other people who are loving and warm and tempered and balanced and loving? Some people just don't want to be in a relationship that it seems like their dreams would come into reality, because what if they were to get in it and, I don't know, somehow it gets taken away or it doesn't work out? So some people, they could know people they'd like to have their dreams come into reality, that they think their dreams could come into reality. But the Seven of Cups can talk about our fears and insecurities that are underneath the surface, about working together with people in a deep, meaningful relationship. Because we do have to be more just and fair. It can't be us being defensive and operating from our emotionally defensive, egoic nature. We would truly have to emotionally invest in the dream, and we'd have to work together with people in a deep, meaningful relationship. And for some people, that alone is enough to scare the bejesus out of them, that they won't do it. Part of the reason they won't do it is because they'd have to look at what their own defensiveness of doing it. What is my own defensiveness to doing it? Some people are just defensive to authentically being vulnerable and loving in the world. Some of them have their own definition of what love is. And some people, shadowy Scorpio energy, can be people, and they don't have to be a Scorpio sun sign, just have this really black and white way of thinking. If this seems great and wonderful and loving, was there something about my past that really wasn't that? And even though they could have loved those people, the thing is that at every moment of time in our life, it's the perfect time for that. Could they have grown up in a family where they really love those people and, to whatever extent, if we don't know better and those are the type of people and they don't know any better and we're all used to living life like that, we live life like that. It's like living our life at age 15. And it was perfect to live our life like we did at age 15. That was great. Just because we go to become 21 and we're living our life better or differently, we've grown and matured ourselves. Does that mean that wasn't good? No, it was perfect and right for age 15. But then we go to age 21. Well, then we're here in age 21. Well, then we can start to get emotionally confused because we're repeating an old pattern over and over. But we're fearful of moving forward and doing things differently. And some people, they get to a certain stage in life and they're like, that's it. I've grown and matured myself enough. I'm good. I might have stability. I might have security. I might have a lot of things in the world that make me feel very balanced, and maybe injustice card maybe makes people look very victorious and successful in the world. I'm done. No more. This is it. If anybody wants to get in a relationship with me from now on, that's it. We're doing it this way. I don't want to do any more self-reflection. If I have any fears and insecurities still within me, they're going to stay there for good. You can get in a relationship and it can seem wonderful and loving for a long time, but there gets to be a point where some people, there's something new they would have to illuminate within themselves that makes them turn their back on love. It gets them in their ego, something they don't want to see. Which it could be even I'm more aligned with my emotionally defensive egoic nature. My more immature worldly nature thinks it's just and fair to be in relationships and maybe just create an illusion. And that's where some of you could have been in a relationship where it seemed like everything was, growing and maturing and going along for a long time. But there got to be a point where they would have to illuminate something. And it could be all those things I talked about, but they didn't realize that, oh, you mean I was going to have to be more independent from some people in my life? I was going to have to be more authentic and vulnerable. I was going to have to put, connect even in with myself more emotionally and in a more just and fair manner. Relationships grow and evolve over time, and initially maybe you kind of were the nurturing person and enabled them living more from their mind than their heart, and for a long time that could have worked out just fine. But then eventually you could have kind of realized that you kind of felt like you were offering love to the situation, and you can start to feel like the other person in their ego is kind of more indulging in the situation. It's good for their ego, it's good for their image, it's good for their status and all those things. But that's when you realize, like, I feel like I've went within to gain insight and wisdom about the things that I'm defensive to and that can get me being stubborn or prideful or immature or whatever. And I've done work to temper my ego, but it can end up kind of seeming like, I've done all this work in myself. Are you ever going to temper any of your ways of being? And that's when the line in the sand can be drawn. And they're like, nope, it was all great and dandy when you were healing from your past pain and heartbreak and you're being loving and you're being strong and you're being nurturing. But when it gets to be where you want the relationship to go to the next level where they're kind of meeting you on that level of being more emotionally vulnerable, then it's like, no. I have this idea of an illusion of what kind of relationship I like to be in. And it isn't for me to ever admit that I have lessons to learn. It isn't for me to be more just and fair in a relationship. I like it when the scales are tipped in my favor, that I can kind of wear my false mask and you're supposed to be okay with it. And the other people are like, so we're never going to give birth to anything new? We're never going to take bold, brave, creative action, to deepen this relationship? Like we've reached the peak of our relationship Because in order for the relationship to continue to grow and mature itself, you'd have to connect in with yourself more emotionally and be more bold and brave and confident to listen to your intuition and maybe go within and figure out why you're defensive. And that's when the relationship ends. It's like, I'm unwilling to do it. You know, if you don't want to stay in the relationship and keep maintaining the illusion, I'll go find someone else who does. Because I'm unwilling to figure out why I'm defensive to being more authentic or vulnerable or loving, or it's just maybe taking them too far out of their comfort zone. So some of you have already done it. You've already loved yourself, reconciled yourself with the past, stood up for yourself, went within, gained insight and understanding, loved yourself, offered yourself love and compassion and forgiveness to temper your fears and your insecurities, and you're ready to give birth to something new with other people who harness high vibe, Leo, Libra, Taurus, Aries energy. People who've done that same work within themselves, who have a dream of working together with people cooperatively in an emotionally balanced, loving way, where everybody has gotten in the driver's seat of their life and grabbed the reins of their dualistic nature and said, it should be just and fair and balanced from love, and I need to learn to love myself to get out of what's causing me to be defensive and in my ego so that I can have victory and move forward in an emotionally balanced, loving way in love, where I can be a nurturing, mature partner in a relationship because I was willing to grow and mature myself. And some people are like, no, I'm willing to be in a relationship with people, but the way the shadowy people want to do it is harnessing these energies in a more shadowy way. The high vibe people would be harnessing, we're talking about Leo energy here. They're in high vibe energy. I'm not operating from my ego. I'm not getting in relationships because of fear and insecurity and codependency. It's good for my ego and my image and my status, or because I'm immature and prideful and I want someone to indulge me in a relationship. High vibe people want to be in a relationship harnessing high vibe Leo, Libra, Taurus, Aries, Capricorn, Cancer, Capricorn. People who've done the work to offer love to their own worldly foundation, to be balanced within themselves from a foundation of love so that they can be a wise, mature, self-aware, loving person in the workplace and in families, because they're not operating out of their egoic nature. They've grown and matured themselves. And some of you are giving birth to that right now, or you will be shortly, because you've done this work to detach from people like this in your life. And if it wasn't other people, it was just you growing and maturing yourself and learning to love yourself, because you used to have a lot of fears and insecurities of maybe even thinking you deserve to have good things in your life. And you did the work to start to love yourself and get more balanced and work through your own emotional confusions and past pain and heartbreak about the past, to offer love to all those people. They were just fallible human beings. And, it's all about spiritual warfare within ourselves. Who won the battle in our life and who didn't? Who are the people who kept staying kind of in their pride and ego, but we can love them and offer them compassion because we've learned how hard it is to be balanced. We all like our default. It's represented by the devil. We don't have to put in work and effort. We can be lazy. We can be bossy, controlling, selfish, prideful, egotistical, self-centered, immature. Of course, that's the default way of being. That's our more worldly, base, beastly nature. But we have the potential not to be one of the animals in the world. And not to say you or anybody in your life was animals, but we do see it out in the world. People who act like animals and they treat other people like animals for their own selfish, greedy, prideful reasons. If we want to rise above our creaturehood of our worldly, beastly nature, we have free will to align and look at life from a higher perspective, to free ourselves from our beastly nature, to be free in the world operating from a foundation of love. There's a higher truth and justice to aspire to in the world than me indulging myself in the world. It's about helping other people love and believe in themselves. Don't we want more loving people in the world? Well, the people who are really shadowy, everybody's their competition. They don't want other people to love and believe in themselves. That would make them feel bad about themselves, that they didn't grow and mature themselves. They don't like to see other people be bold and brave and authentic in the world because it makes them feel bad that they weren't willing to do that they might have settled for less than they deserved. They didn't love and believe in themselves, to stand up for themselves, to work through their own defensiveness to being authentically themselves in the world. And the shadowy people are imprisoned and enslaved and oppressed and confined by all the things that oppress them. And they don't sometimes like it when other people free themselves. And everybody has their idea of what's just and fair. And if some people are more aligned with their worldly egoic nature, and that's what imprisons and enslaves them, where they think, isn't it what I wear that makes me have worth and value? Isn't it how much money I make and what I drive and the people I associate with? Is like, are you hanging out and living your life authentically? Are you in loving relationships? Well, no, but these people are good for my ego and my image, and these people have the things that can give me the status. That's like sacrificing your authentic life for an illusion. And some people are willing to do that because they derive their sense of worth and value not from themselves, not from between them and the divine. Am I living my authentic life? Am I growing to my full potential? No, it's more important what the world thinks of me because I haven't learned to love and believe in myself and think I'm worth more than that. So they make the whole world their judge. So I think some of you are moving forward. Some people are in the midst of relationships or workplaces like that. Some people are going to get in a relationship like that. And they're both people who are fearful of being bold and brave and authentic in their life, fearful of starting fresh and new and believing in themselves. So they're going to get in a relationship that's an illusion. And in their more egoic nature, they turn their back on their divine inheritance and their more loving, intuitive, creative, inspired nature that they had the option to align with within themselves. We all have unique talents, skills, and interests that we can use to have stability and security in our life. We don't have to find a way. We just got to listen to our intuition. What makes me happy? What inspires me? What motivates me? Who are the people that encourage me and love me? I'm going to work with those people. And I bet together we'll be motivated and inspired, or on my own, to give birth to a stable, abundant, loving, victorious life. The divine knows that we need those things in our life and that we'd all like some of the finer things in life. But other people were unwilling to listen to their intuition, to be bold and brave, to offer that to their own worldly foundation, to free themselves. And so those people are going to get in a relationship and indulge themselves in the illusion. Look what a happy, loving relationship I got in. Look what a happy, wonderful job I have. But it's more of just trying to create this illusion so people view them as having, because again, when you get so concerned about what other people think and how other people view you, why would anybody get in a job or relationship because of wanting people so badly, wanting other people to view them a certain way? Fuck them. I'm going to go live my authentic life, judge away. I'm certainly not going to settle for getting in a situation just to appear a certain way in the world. That, I think, would show somebody who has a lot of fear and insecurities, so desperate to make people view them a certain way, that they're giving up their dreams because they're more worried about creating this illusion and having people view them a certain way. If you kept moving forward, loving and believing in yourself, doing the inner work to figure out why you're defensive, and start taking action, listening to your intuition, quit listening to your fearful, insecure nature and the other people in your life who try to instill fear and insecurity, you'd be able to give birth to something wonderful. But some people don't live their life that way. They don't even view life that way. There's some people that are in the midst of this that are just now seeing through the illusion. Wow. Some of them were one of the people who got into it because of an illusion, or caught up in the illusion of the world, or because they had fear and insecurity. And, we can all get in relationships for whatever reason we get in a relationship, for a want for stability, security, our fears, whatever. That's fine. We are where we're at. It's like being age 15. And then it's like being age 18. Life is progress and growing. And some people are just seeing that, that they could have gotten in a mismatched relationship. They could have thought it was love, and they're realizing the other person's more in it for ego. That they've been trying to love and encourage someone who really doesn't want change, who views life differently, wants to keep moving forward in the relationship more because it looks good. It's good for their status and their image and their security and stability. But we can all get in a relationship, but if both people aren't willing to do the work, then we have a problem. And there's some people just now realizing it. And they're also realizing that probably the people in their life that want to be in a relationship with them for a reason other than love, some of those people are being defensive to them in order to get them to focus more on them and invest back in the relationship instead of doing this work within themselves to love and believe in themselves. Your attention is supposed to be on me. Scales of justice are supposed to be tipped in my favor. For others of them, the reason why it won't work out if the other person is unwilling to self-reflect, to see the truth, that they're defensive for some reason, eventually that person won't want to be in a relationship with the loving, balanced people because you're not indulging them the way they want. Or they're not motivated and inspired by love to begin with, and they want to maybe be in a more superficial relationship. This relationship's too much work. Or I am more motivated by money and materialism. And if there's someone else who's offering me money and materialism, I'm going to be defensive to you because I really didn't even want to be in a relationship where I have to temper my ego or where it was supposed to be about love. I like this pattern of way of living life and maybe making my life more about money and materialism or ego and image. I don't like tempering my ego. I'm egotistical. I don't like not being able to indulge myself the way I want to indulge myself in the world. And it's like hanging out with people that aren't on the same place as you. Anyway, let's finish it up there. I think shadowy people are going to continue to keep repeating the same old pattern they've done because they're unwilling to see some shadowy aspect about themselves or people they're used to being around or people that they grew up with, and they're not willing to see the truth, and the truth sets us free, so they're going to repeat an old pattern. Others of you have already been in relationships with people like that. You have learned the lesson from those life experiences, and you're looking to the future, having hope and faith and belief that the divine works with us to manifest our dreams. It just depends on what we align with within ourselves. If we still have lessons to learn, we'll have those type of people come in our life to teach us a lesson. It's like, God, I have learned the lessons. I do not want to be in my pride and ego. I do not want to be defensive. I am willing to submit. I will listen to my intuition and believe that you have a plan for your life. And when you do, that's when the devil doesn't have to come in your life anymore, because you have learned to humble yourself, that we live within a worldly system that has rules to it. And it is about us learning and growing and maturing ourselves. And if we don't, we will be humbled and we will be up in our head and fearful and insecure in an emotionally confusing situations because we weren't willing to temper our egoic nature and trust love and intuition to guide us. And some people are like, nope, I've learned my lessons. I don't want the devil in my life anymore, God. I am going to trust that you have a plan for my life. You know the things that I want, and I am going to keep not indulging or tipping back into my shadowy nature of, but I just want to feel better now. I just want what I want now. Me, 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 me. It's like, what's your plan, God? I'm following it, And there's other people that have lived life, moved on ahead of you. You could have gone off the track a few more times than some other people. There's other people who are more older than you, more mature than you, they've been waiting for people to come up the path. Just like you'll be somebody hoping other people in life come up the path and they get out of their illusionary ways of thinking about the world or their fear and insecurity, who are open to love, or get out of their illusionary relationships and facade relationships. You know, other people could be waiting, they're loving people waiting for other people to come around and work with them who are equally balanced and loving and grown and matured. Yeah, I don't want to repeat that pattern. I've been in relationships with people who are manipulative and prideful and egotistical and immature and self-centered and materialistic. I want to be with people who know their worth and value. People who are willing to be authentic and warm and loving and work cooperatively in an emotionally balanced, stable, grounded, nurturing way. Those people are out there because we live in a dualistic world. Those options are out there in the world because that option exists within us. And when we quit aligning with our fear and insecurities, where it's like, because if we align with that, we're going to have people who come into our life. That's like the devil. I've come into your life. God uses everybody's traits and characteristics for his good purposes. Oh, this person's immature right now, too. They're kind of on the same page as you. Maybe you guys can work it out. Maybe you'll grow and mature together. Sorry, I guess that person wasn't willing to do it. Don't give up on your dreams. We'll find more people. But if you want to minimize getting in relationships with people who are in their shadow, do not tolerate shadowy behavior in yourself, and do not enable shadowy behavior in other people. People have to be just and fair and open and authentic and bold and brave and confident. And if they're immature and impulsive and all those shadowy ways of being, you say, no, been there, done that. I wish you peace. I'm moving on. So it is to listen to your intuition. As you move forward, there's going to be other people looking at you. There's also going to be other people that you already know. There's going to be different people who don't like you loving and believing in yourself, because if you love and believe in yourself and you're not going to indulge them in their poor behavior, then you're not going to indulge them in a relationship and you're going to have your dreams come true. Some of those people are going to try to stop you, hiding that the reason they want to be in a new beginning with you is they're in their ego, that you're going to have your dreams come into reality with someone else. And they want you to indulge them in their false mask. And other people you're going to meet from your past that could come up towards you, or people you meet in your future could be like that. And you're going to meet other people who are authentic and warm and genuine and loving, who have learned some lessons in life to stand up for themselves, and they're bold and brave and creative and not operating from their egoic nature. And you're going to have to listen to your intuition, offering love and kindness to the world, but tempering yourself. That, I'm not going to jump into bringing a dream into reality and working together with people until I have found the truth, because this is valuable. I have these traits and characteristics. If you're not on the same page, then I need to, in my high vibe Leo energy, protect my more loving nature from people who might be operating from ego. And I'm going to try to illuminate what their truth is by getting to know them before I move forward with them in a relationship, because I've been there and done that, and I don't want to do it again. And God gave you the superpower of your intuition to guide you. So let's go see what's coming up. And I think some of the people that are in the midst of a mismatched relationship, that are seeing the truth, that, they've been loving and encouraging and their person is still being defensive, those people are being illuminated to the truth. And it's sad, with the, it's humbling. We can be sad because it's like, I really wanted you to move forward with me in life, and I love you. But, if you're not willing to let go of your defensiveness, I got to get out of my ego about it, because I deserve to be in mutually balanced, loving relationships. And if this isn't going to be it, then I submit that, I can't have everything I want. The divine must have a plan for me. And being in relationships with people who are defensive, to being self-insight and self-awareness, I can't have my dream come into reality. So tell us about the people that harness high vibe Leo energy. What else is coming up for them? But if you're not in a relationship, you might have someone, you might have made an offer to someone. You could have communicated to someone that I'm not doing that anymore. I've gained insight and wisdom. I'm ready to have a new beginning. You could have offered love to someone. That person could be going within to try to see if they think you're telling the truth, doing their due diligence. And if they think you are being authentic, they may come and offer you to, get in a relationship. Tell us what's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Leo energy. And if people are in a relationship where people are doing this work together and growing, maturing themselves, if they have other people who try to tempt them in their ego to have a new beginning with them, those people are going to offer love to themselves to not get in their ego, to go within, to probably deal with why would I be tempted to even do that, work through their own emotional confusion about the relationship they're in, offer themselves love and compassion to the whole situation, and, realize that why would I, if I'm in a loving relationship, why would I be tempted to get in a new relationship with someone else? That makes no sense. I maybe be operating from ego, and if I do that, it's probably not going to turn out the way I want. And I'm probably going to learn some really difficult lessons that if I'm in a loving relationship, I'm going to defend the loving relationship I'm in. And I've done the work to figure out why I would even be tempted by that. And maybe it goes to show that I have some things within myself to work on, and temper my egoic nature. And prideful and egotistical and lustful. What's coming up for the people who harness high vibe Leo energy? Well, I think for one, you're going to definitely be able to cut a way of being within yourself out that was in shadowy energy and other people in your life that were in this shadowy energy because you have hope and faith and belief in your dreams. Nine of Pentacles. Some people, so the Nine of Pentacles is Virgo energy. It's an earth sign energy. Some of you have to cut a Virgo out of your life. Some people had this illusion of being in relationships that you kind of just indulge in a way, or just kind of wanted to keep staying single in a way, being single, or kind of being independent in a way of the relationship, which is kind of not really that invested to a degree. Some people, if you know people who are like that, who want to stay single, who don't want, because this is a King of Pentacles, which the King and Queen of Pentacles is a married suit of the deck. There's some people that don't want to move forward with you because they want to be single, because they might feel they have options. They could find relationships confusing. They kind of create illusions in relationships. And then if the relationship doesn't work out and people realize they're kind of defensive, kind of indulging, they're single, they can just go get in another relationship. And you might want someone who's willing to make a long-term commitment. So if you know people who are like that, you might cut them out of your life. You're not aligning with your more worldly nature, and you don't want to be in a relationship with other people who are present themselves as loving, but they're really more kind of driven by their lust or their greed or whatever. And there might be some people who are willing to quit being single to bring a dream into reality and become a marriage partner to someone. Tell us about the people who harness shadowy Leo energy, what they don't see coming. Well, I think the people who get in relationships and they're not being authentic and honest, you can fool some of the people, and that's kind of what the Seven of Cups is about, is trying to confuse people about the truth of a situation. Why am I in this relationship? Why am I moving forward with this relationship? what they might not realize, some of the people who are kind of indulging and manipulating people, well, if they're a shadowy person and they're in a relationship with a loving person, the loving people are going to be illuminated to the truth and going to hold them accountable for their actions. Judgment comes eventually. If you're in a relationship and you're not being truthful and honest and authentic and just and fair and authentic, you can fool people for quite a while, but eventually, you know, and if people have been loving and encouraging, trying to get you to get out of your fear or your insecurities or whatever, and people keep not doing it, eventually judgment day comes and the high vibe people are like, I'm not staying in this relationship anymore. Knight of Pentacles. I'm no longer thinking you're someone I can have a long term plan with because. And the Knight of Pentacles becomes the King of Pentacles. So some people who are shadowy are going to maybe find out that some people don't want to move forward with them. Some people took some actions in their life. They're trying to have a new relationship with someone, but the person they're in a relationship wants to know the truth about maybe something that happened in the past. And if those people aren't truthful and honest, those people aren't going to invest in them. Just like you might have people approach you or that you meet or that, vice versa, the people that are upstanding and that you being upstanding and the people who want to be in a relationship with you, people have to be willing to be authentic, and you're going to listen to your intuition to if they're telling you the truth about why a former relationship didn't work out, why they left that relationship. And some people who aren't being truthful and honest, who are trying to emotionally confuse people about the past because they might be kind of prideful, egotistical, materialistic, ego focused, image focused, the person they're trying to get in a relationship with can see that they're defensive. That, I don't know, you still seem to defend these other people in your life. Are you ready to have a new beginning or not? Were you just indulging in a relationship and wanting to stay in the relationship more for ego and image? I want a marriage partner. You seem to still be defensive of your options in your past. Is that what you want? And some of the people who might come towards you might have had that happen where they were kind of, you could, we can all have illusions about who people are, and they could be the one who is kind of indulging in a way in a relationship, and they could be in a relationship with someone who's loving, and that person could start to see that you seem to not really be willing to bring this dream into reality, and they're going to cut out someone who wants to keep staying single. Then they might want to come and recreate that pattern with you, and you're like, no, I'm looking for someone who wants to be a marriage partner, a loyal, committed partner, not someone who in their ego kind of wants to be indulged in a relationship. But they might have people who, and if they do move forward in their relationship, they might have other people who are unwilling to invest in them because they don't see them as a stable, mature person, that they do think they do all this kind of manipulation and illusion, and maybe seeing through the illusion and seeing that they are kind of prideful and egotistical, possibly materialistic and immature and all those things. And other people that could have been friends with them from childhood don't really want to have much to do with them. It can take a long time to see through the illusion of people and see the truth of who they are, because it never got to be where the rubber met the road, where they had the choice. You can move to the next phase of life and grow up and mature yourself, just like you do from 18 to 21 to 25 to 30. And they were like, no, I'm not doing it. That would require something new about me, or a way of being, or kind of making some final cuts and things in my life that I'm unwilling to do. And I think other people will see it, and that will be something they didn't expect. Especially if any of you are kind of like dealing with a narcissist that's all about their ego and image. It's all to confuse people about the truth, why they didn't move forward with some loving people in their life. And it's because it required them to give up their more emotionally, well, their narcissistic ways, we could say, I guess, if they're narcissistic. And they never thought, because they thought they'd maybe, the Libra energy can be about, they don't have to be a Libra sun sign, just people in their Libra energy that our Libra energy aspect within us is like our public politician aspect, trying to work out things with people. It's like our public persona of trying to maintain balance in the world. And some people have cultivated this image about who they are in the world, kind of like a professional politician, that they're just and fair and loving and nurturing and insightful and tempered and all those good things. But when they could have gotten in a relationship with someone who really is more authentic and warm and loving and bold and brave and confident in love, that's when it kind of highlights and illuminates the fact that this person operates more from illusion. They weren't like the real deal. They just tried to present themselves as being the real deal. And when they got in relationships with people who really were like that, that's when they became defensive. And they could have even got in their competitive energy and started to compete with the people they were in relationship with, because they don't like that you're really who you say you are, which is who they say they are, but theirs is just more of a facade. They could be someone who has a lot of fears and insecurities, who's always been indulging their more immature worldly nature instead of actually doing the work to deal with their fears and insecurities, to get out of operating from their egoic nature, which definitely can come across as narcissistic. So there you go, Leo energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.